Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesdays with Jane, and today we've got a guest with us, but we're not talking about Bev Cassidy. We're going to talk about Mary Lang. And many of you will remember Mary as she looked in 1966. This is Mary in front of the temporary dining hall after the fire in the lodge. Mary Lang was the longest director at Camp Newaygo, and she was director for 26 years. Some of you were even campers with her, or maybe counselors, or maybe had her as a counselor. But today, Bev Cassidy is going to give her impressions of Mary Lang. Mary was the camp director who hired Bev as program director. So, Bev, what about Mary?
What can one say about Mary Lang? Everybody has a story. So I joined camp and Mary in 1976 for the summer as her program director. And I drove in from Kenosha, Wisconsin, got out of my car, and Mary roared, "Get in the truck." And so I jumped in the cattle truck. She had 12 women's fitness campers loaded in and 12 canoes behind. And she tore out like she drove like a bat out of heck. And I could barely keep in my seat. Mary was driving so fast, and she's firing all these questions at me. And I'm looking at her, and I just started laughing. But that was Mary Lang in a nutshell. She was full of energy. She was full of purpose, and you better be doing what you need to be doing. Mary was firm. She was fair. She was also frugal. And you best not come to a meal late, or you were at Mary's table apologizing and then apologizing again, and perhaps maybe one more apology would be helpful. And for me, if Mary wanted me anywhere in camp, she would just boom, Bev, and I would hear her even on the waterfront or wherever. So Mary had this booming voice, lots of energy. Her rules were tie shoes and socks, no exceptions. She hated flip-flops. They caused foot injuries. So one of my jobs was to try and keep everybody in tie shoes and socks and away from Mary if they were in flip-flops. She was also very, very protective of camp, as she loved it dearly, and especially at night when the young boys from throughout the lake would come and they would be wanting to get the girls at the girls' camp. Mary was famous for jumping in a boat and chasing them across the lake, finding where they were, and then going up to the house and talking to the parents with the boys in tow.
I bet that was the Powers boys and the Kronk boys.
And the Kronk boys. But always good for good stories there. The other thing that Mary always did is she had a good friendship with Coopers, Jenny, and Tom. And if any of our staff were thinking they were going to slip out for a set of fries and perhaps a cool drink, before they even swam over and arrived, Jenny would have called Mary, and Mary would be greeting them there at Cooper's Inn. So she was on her game at all times.
She also had that switch in her cabin that lit up the waterfront if anyone was down there skinny dipping. She probably even caught Ruth Lampson down there in her slip, skinny dipping.
Mary, we also all worked really long hours, and the staff was always hungry, always, always hungry. And they were always trying to break into the kitchen, steal Ruth's cookies, or usually what they'd find are prunes that were from USDA. But Mary was constantly guarding the food so we had enough for the kids. And those are kind of my memories of Mary.
She was quite the lady, I'll tell you. She had a lot of accomplishments while she was at camp. She was a program director and a camper, as I said, and she hosted in 1958 the first Christian and Jewish family camp that took place there for a number of years. Opened the Tinuan unit, a new bathhouse with pull chains, you might remember them, and you put a stick in it so that it would keep running, but really you pulled them, washed real quick, and pulled it again. Mary was kind of the transition between that bathing in the lake and having a real bathhouse. But Mary was very well known for coming back after the 1966 fire at Lang Lodge, and by the summer of '67, they had built that beautiful lodge under Mary's direction, and she was one to really. I often hear people say, "What a force Mary was."
Mhm.
So I think that her kind of uh, crowning jewel at the end there was to hire Bev Cassidy to follow her. So thanks, Bev, for being here today, and we'll be talking more about Mary Lang in weeks to come.